You know, this COVID-19 is a real tester. I remember my grandfather used to say, well, you'll find out what you're made out of there, son. If you do that, if you go through that, you'll find out what you're made out of, what you're made of or made out of. He was talking about the Depression. And they've compared COVID-19 to the Depression. But it has been a test of fortitude. It's been a test of courage. Still going on, by the way. It's not put that in the past tense, but it's still going on. But it's a lot of us have been able to find out somewhat, I guess, what we're made out of, what's inside of us. That old story about, what do you do when life turns sour? You make lemonade or something like that. Yuck. But anyway, I'm thinking about that. What you're made out of. What has been your primary emotion through all of this? Some of you have been sheltering in place. Some of you haven't. Some of you have been coming and going as usual. But no matter what, you still know what's going on, And what has been your primary emotion through it all? I'm sure you've had many emotions, like fear or afraid or fear, maybe some anger, maybe some anxiety, something that you couldn't even name. You felt nervous and didn't know about what. Maybe had some happy moments, joyous moments. But what has been your primary emotion through it all these last 2 or 3 months, I guess you'd say? If you look at your primary emotion that you have day in and day out, you can tell a lot about yourself. If your primary emotion is fear or dread, you've got some anxiety problems or some depression problems. If your primary emotion is contentment or serene or happy, things must be okay inside you, Now, I don't mean every person that acts happy is happy. But if you're truly happy and truly serene and truly at peace inside, you've got some good stuff going on in there. Reminds me of a story. This woman's walking a mountain path. She crosses a stream. And she'd crossed this stream many times. But she crossed it this day, and looking down, she saw a lump of gold. Enough gold that would provide her with all she wanted for the rest of her life. And so she put it in her bag and she went on her way. And she came to a place where she sat down and was having a bit of lunch, and a stranger comes along and says hi, and she said, would you like something to eat? And he said, well, yes, thank you very much. And so she opened her bag to give this man some food out of the bag. And when she did, the stranger saw that lump of gold. And he said to her, where did you find that? And she said, in the stream back there. And he said, oh my goodness, I've been searching up and down that stream for years and never have found anything that resembles that. I'd like to have it. And she gave it to him. She just gave him the lump of gold. And he eats, thanks her, and leaves. And he comes back, though, about 15 or 20 minutes later, comes back and he says, here, this is your gold. Take it back. But I want you to give me something in return. And she said, what? And he said, I want you to give me whatever it was inside of you that caused you to give me what was so valuable. What is it inside of you that caused you to be willing to do that? I want you to give me that because it's more valuable. My grandfather said, going through the Depression, You find out what you're made out of. Well, that woman obviously was made out of what some people would call crazy, the more comedic perhaps, but some would call it a selfless person. The content of her soul did not need a lump of gold. And that's what the stranger wanted. He wanted what she had that caused her to be willing to give him that lump of gold. What is that primary something inside of yourself that moves you, that motivates you? What's that primary emotion that you have day in and day out? Think about it. This is not to put any pressure on you at all. You don't need any more pressure. I'm just saying, think about it for a minute. That's all. And don't forget I said that.